In a lush, sunlit forest lived a tiny ant with her family. From the beginning, she was admired for her wisdom, hard work, and clever ways of staying ahead. But slowly her heart began to change. When she saw the peacock dance, she whispered to herself, "Look at his beauty. Everyone admires him. Why does no one admire me?" When she watched the butterfly soar through the air, she sighed. "If only I had wings. Why must I always crawl on the ground?" And even the playful squirrel made her envious, leaping from tree to tree faster than her eyes could follow. Slowly, bitterness filled her little heart. She lost interest in her duties. The ant who once collected food before anyone else now lingered behind, distracted and gloomy. Others often asked her, "Why do you look so weak?" But she stayed silent. Then one day, a fierce storm swept through the forest. Trees cracked and fell, rivers overflowed, and many animals lost their homes. The butterfly's delicate wings became soaked and too heavy to fly. The squirrel's tree collapsed, leaving her shivering helplessly on the wet ground. The ant, though sad herself, could only watch, yet on her face appeared the faintest smile. Even the proud peacock's colorful feathers were soaked and heavy, leaving him unable to dance. The forest was in chaos, yet deep underground, the ants' colony remained safe and strong. Their carefully built tunnels had protected them from the storm. When the tiny ant looked at the suffering around her, something stirred inside. "I wasted so much time envying others," she thought. "But today they are the ones in trouble. Can I do something to help?" At that moment, she made a decision. She called the other ants together and said with determination, "We must help the others. Together, we can save them," the little ant declared. At once, hundreds of ants marched out in neat lines. Some gently carried the butterfly on their backs to a safe, dry place. Others built a soft bed of leaves for the shivering squirrel. A group carefully cleaned the water from the peacock's feathers until he could lift his head again. The animals were astonished. How could such tiny creatures have such enormous hearts? When the storm finally passed and sunlight returned, the butterfly, the squirrel, and the peacock came to thank the ant. The peacock bowed and said, "I have never seen a beauty greater than yours." The squirrel whispered softly, "Today I learned that true strength is not in showing off, but in serving others." The butterfly smiled and added, "You cannot fly and you may not shine, but you saved us all. That makes you the great." For the first time in her life, the little ant felt proud of who she was. She realized she was far more precious than she had ever believed. From that day on, she stopped comparing herself with others. She understood that every creature has its own unique purpose, and when we discover our true strengths and use them to help others, that is when we become truly special. Jealousy blinds us to our own worth. We waste our days wishing for what others have, while forgetting the hidden gifts within ourselves. True greatness does not lie in beauty, wings, or strength. It lies in kindness, in service, and in the courage to use what we already have for the good of others. Being small is never a weakness. A big heart can make even the smallest one the greatest of all. If this little story gave you a lesson today, press the like button, share it with someone who needs it, and tell me in the comments, where are you watching from? I'd love to know.